Hey, okay, so this is my first live YouTube. I'm totally inspired by Andrew Martin, I think that's his name, who I've recently found. And I do live shares on Facebook really regularly. And I also have an online tribe on Facebook, which is based on my new book, The Fearless Life Guide. And The Fearless Life Guide is a book that's really based on my 15-year spiritual journey and the result of a spiritual awakening and transformation. And transformation is profound, it's total, it will really shapeshift every area of your life. However, when you really ground and when you really do the work, it is amazing. And when we get to the other side of it and ultimately are sort of joyful, abundant, and loving creators, the world and the lives that we live are inspirational and radiant and again, healthy and abundant. So the my camera is telling me that I have very bad connection, so hopefully this is all still like recording and going live. I'm not sure if it actually is or not, but we'll keep working it. So I just am now really being guided to share a lot more about my journey and also just my perspective. And my perspective ultimately really shifted when about 15 years ago, more than that now, like 16 years ago, when I left for university and had these like spiritual awakenings. I didn't know they were spiritual awakenings at the time. It was just my reality. But I had, yeah, these like awakenings. And because of those awakenings, I've ended up living quite, I would say, a fringe out there kind of lifestyle where I've always just followed my intuition. And the times in my life when I didn't follow my intuition, I ended up getting into really uncomfortable and you could say sort of toxic patterns. And I talk about this in the book and I observe it in individuals' lives and also in the collective human story that when we deny ourselves, when we deny the intuition, which is our own inner teacher, and the intuition, ultimately, the true loving intuition is really what keeps us aligned to the good of all as well. And when we deny that inner voice and choose to pursue our own kind of egoic projections of like what we think we should have or what we think we are based on kind of what we've been taught by the world, then eventually we'll start to realize that we're in patterns, and the patterns tend to be restricted, they tend to be stressful, they tend to be painful, suffering, all that kind of stuff. So how do we get out of patterns? Well, part of it is all happening right now. So on a global level, we can recognize that like a lot of the patterns that we've been in, for example, always being at war, that's a pattern, that's a global collective pattern. That, and not for every pocket of the planet, but those will be pockets like for frequency, right? So for most of us in the Western cultures, we can see that as a global pattern. And how we disengage basically is one, to withdraw from it. So in the book I talk about unplugging, so stop engaging with that story and then go within self. So that means practice things like meditation, practice things that are aligned with kind of energy healing, gong bath meditation, things like yoga, so that you can start to basically withdraw your attention from that external story and come to know yourself for yourself. Like, who are you according to you? And the beauty of this is that you kind of get to choose. Now, there's a lot that's sort of already imprinted because we are all unique individuals. So there's going to be things that align with you. And alignment really just means what feels the best, what feels most open, what feels most aligned. Alignment, what feels most truthful for you. And a lot of this next level of mass awakening is really profound, because no longer are we kind of listening to the external, even the gurus or our teachers and like the authority figures, because the work is so uniquely individual that we have to permission one another to come away from a lot of traditions that are still sort of, even though the intent is powerful and it can kind of take us to a point, as sovereign beings, as unique divine sparks of creation, we have to embody our own truth. And we can't really embody our own truth if we're still listening to dogma, if we're still listening to a pattern that, again, even though it's positive, it can still be limited because it's a pattern of control. It's a pattern of, well, this is the way you have to live to fulfill this, indoctrination. And so we have to become a little bit more fluid with even our healing modalities and even our healing practices, and certainly with how we engage with our business and how we work with the economy itself, is that it's all just self-created. And so those of us sort of pioneering a new way of being, we have to be willing to really listen diligently to sort of feel into how exactly our path is meant to pioneer a new way for another pocket of people. And I recognize, as I say this, that I really am speaking to leaders, I'm speaking to pioneers, I'm speaking to people who might already be in like a teaching or a healing capacity and are starting to feel limited. So for example, in my journey, I started to feel really limited by even like the yoga industry. And I started to feel alienated by some like spiritual communities. And that was just because my perspective was unique. And those of us who are kind of true guides for the new, we have to be willing to really step into the unknown and let the new be shown to us from like a higher wisdom, or a kind of higher wisdom, like cosmic, because we are all connected to source, we all are divine, and yet from where we're going, from where we've been to where we're going is really radical. It's a really amazing leap of faith that we're all having to take right now, because for the most part this is a brand new story for the human on this timeline. So and that's the title, right? Mass awakening. Right now, because of the increasing sort of toxic patterns that more and more people are observing, and more people are getting fed up by the perceived corruption and mass disempowerment and enslavement, and more people are just like, you know what, this sucks, like this isn't working anymore. And so that's ushering, again, it's like a divine plan, that is ushering the mass awakening. And the mass awakening, in truth, when we have an awakening experience, it's like the beginning of a healing journey. And our healing is sort of, you could say, perpetual. It's like this ongoing fine-tuning of our flow state and our truly radiant state. And I believe that it can happen in an instant. At the same time, most of us will carry, like, I call it the karmic backlog in the book. Most of us will carry like density from multiple levels and the past and our ancestors. And so we have like we're gonna have like cycles. We're gonna have these patterned cycles that we have to observe and consciously transform with the light of our awareness, so that we can keep spiraling upward and rise up, and ultimately continue to create from that place of what we're truly desiring in our heart. So the mass awakening is like just what it sounds like, a mass part of the human collective. So that's just, the collective just means like lots of people are waking up to the fact that there's like craziness happening, and they don't really necessarily want to be a part of that anymore, and so they're gonna start taking responsibility. And on a very like basic thread, healing is forgiveness. So true kind of profound healing is forgiving everything, is forgiving everyone for everything. And it starts with ourselves ultimately. So true forgiveness is really just us forgiving ourselves for creating on a certain level. Usually it's, if it doesn't feel good, it's the fact that we've been creating on a level that is sort of lacking in the love frequency, and it's anything kind of lower than love is divisive. Usually there's like a sense of separation, disconnection, us against them, power over, supremacy, stuff like that. So anything without love is sort of creating on a lower level. And there's nothing inherently good or bad, because all of creation is contained with love. Basically unconditional love. So it means like, okay, we're gonna be these cosmic divine creators, and we're gonna be given free will to create whatever we desire from whatever level we're perceiving from. It's just that right now in the earth story, we're choosing to move from like one level of creation up to another level of creation, that of the heart center. So creating from a place of love allows us to have greater manifestation potential. So we become more godlike. So if you think of all of this creation that we could potentially perceive is held within the container of God force, if we want to be able to manifest like we might imagine God to manifest, then we have to also be manifesting from a place of love. And that really means that we manifest in truth from a place of total forgiveness and unconditional love for all. But it also means that we perceive from unity. We know that when we're listening to our heart, that we're creating from a place of a unified field for the good of all, so that we're not kind of taking from one another. We're not using one another for our own gain. We're not judging other people and being like, oh, I don't need to change because they're dickheads. You know, we're not making excuses anymore. We're healing through self-forgiveness. We're accepting the fact that all the emotions that we carry are our own to transform. That we don't feel things because of other people, that we feel things because those are the energies that we're carrying. And if we don't choose to own the energies that we carry, we stay perpetuated in shitty patterns. And again, on a personal level and on a global level as well. So there you have it. Mass awakening is leading us into a mass healing, and you can start healing through practicing the art of forgiveness. If you want to know more about myself, MJ, or my book, The Fearless Life Guide and Alta Love Project, you can go over to my website, which is altalove.com. And you can subscribe there, and you can also buy the book there as well. And then if you enjoy the book and want a little bit of help and support, you can join the online tribe, which is a private secret Facebook group. And it's sort of just like, it's donation based. So it's literally, people usually, you know, they contribute every month or so, you know, maybe £15. Some people pay considerably more, which you'll see on the website. But you can support the movement that way as well, because that's part of the new, is like complete transparency when it comes to economy and running a business. So Alta Love has one product, which is the book. I also run transformational yoga retreats with my partner, and so far we have one in Bali in November, and we have another Sexy Goddess, which is girls only, next May in Ibiza. So we run those. I also, in the summer months while I'm based in the UK, where I live is a pretty beautiful, I call it my spiritual home because it's where I've been guided to live, and I can run day retreats there. So if you're in the UK and you want to spend a day with me and learn about living fearlessly and do a bit of yoga and eat some simple vegan food, then you can join me there. So yeah, if you want to know more about me, join the movement at www.alltolove.com. And I'll look forward to seeing you somewhere in the virtual reality, or maybe on one of my retreats, or maybe on the Fearless Life Tribe, where I share this pretty much every day, but I also share like based on what tribe members are working with. So like questions that tribe members have, or and also the tribe members are encouraged to share. So a lot of tribe members will like do video shares as well, or just share like what they're sitting with, where they're at. And oftentimes when it comes to spiritual awakening, having a tribe is really useful because suddenly we're not alone anymore. And that's where like it's amazing. Like I feel so blessed basically because it's been this like long ass like lonely journey since my awakening 16 years ago, and just like working things out and trying to figure out how this inner work, oneness, love stuff works. And then this acceleration, as more and more people awaken, this acceleration is happening. And now there's these tribes, which are amazing because people who are having spontaneous awakenings, they don't have to do it alone anymore. You can join a tribe and basically be supported and loved and encouraged in the process, which is radically different from, say, where I was like 12 years ago or 13 years ago, where most people just told me I was ridiculous all the time. You all, I love you guys. I hope you're having an awesome day, and hopefully I'll see you either as a subscriber on All to Love, or that you'll actually join me. You can find out how to join as well. There's like a little bit of a process in applying to join the Fearless Life Tribe. So hopefully I'll see you on the Fearless Life Tribe, and fingers crossed, even though there was a bit of a shitty connection, that this video goes live and it works and you can hear everything I said. Take care guys, I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.